welcome. This is Born for the Trades, a home service podcast. Today I'm your host. My name is Shreya, and Mandeep can make it in today. For all the listeners, he had a little injury while he's traveling, so we miss him very much. But today we have a very lovely and very special guest, Michelle Van Beek. You've probably heard of her. She's kind of a big deal. Um, and she's president and founder of E3 and co-owner of Profit Rocket and Business Blueprint. So welcome to the show, Michelle, finally.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. I appreciate you taking the time and having me on. It means the world to me. And I certainly hope Mandeep is doing okay.
Yeah, I've been waiting to have you on the show since we started. You're just kind of an obvious choice, someone that always is in the new and the now, and has a lot of, really interesting things to say about the industry and new perspectives. So we're hoping to focus on some of that today. Join us as we dive deep into the world of home service entrepreneurship, interacting with industry leaders, coaches, and entrepreneurs about their experiences, challenges, and victories. Through their inspiring stories, we hope to equip our listeners with the tools and knowledge they need to succeed in the competitive home service industry. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, tune in to Born for the Trades podcast for invaluable insight and real-world inspiration. For the listeners that might have not heard of your background and your experience yet, maybe very few, but still to cover to cover how you got into this industry, your background. Can you give them a little bit of a synopsis on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the trades for 9 years. I was actually recruited in the trades and worked my way up the ladder, and then spent a lot of time working as COO for multiple entities. My dream was always to become a business coach, and I started to kind of mentor up and coming leaders in the trades. I'm very passionate about leadership development. So, and then obviously operations, like that's like my thing, it's like second nature to me. So I started kind of mentoring up and coming leaders, and then that kind of segued into, the problems with their business, talking about what's going on. And then I realized like, hey, I know how to fix all these things, like, hey, like this might be the perfect opportunity, for me to move on and start doing business coaching. So I've been doing that for 2 years. And I love it so much. But throughout the course of those 2 years, my passion for lighting the way for other females in the trades has really just grown and grown. And it's always been there because as a female leader, I've obviously had to endure a lot of hardships. I mean, just to keep it real, and I had to overcome a lot of challenges with very minimal support. So I've always kind of like had a soft place in my heart, for women who wanted to elevate their lives. But, just kind of felt like the world's telling them no, and I'm like, you tell me no, and I'm going to work harder and prove to you why I can. I mean, that's just, my mentality. So through the course of business coaching, like I said, that passion kind of grew and grew. And then Victor Rancor and I started Profit Rocket together. And one day, I just woke up and said like, hey, like I need to do more. This passion slash calling is not accidental. How do I find purpose, to really meet my passion? And that's kind of when E3 was drummed into fruition. So I don't know how much you want me to go into that right now, but
I definitely want to go into E3 because that definitely is the new, the now, and I think that more people definitely need to know about that. To go over a little bit with Business Blueprint and your operations work, for the listeners is I just kind of have these questions pop up in my head if people were listening is, what are the most common problems that you see across every business that you work with? Something that people may think they're unique in having these problems, but really everybody has them.
That's a great question. Yeah, I would say what surprises me is like nothing really, because nothing is really that unique. I hear the same things, I hear the same problems, I watch, the same issues. And I think the only thing unique, I would say, which will probably really shock and awe you, is the leaders. And this is what I mean by that. I mean, the leaders being so blissfully unaware that they are shitty leaders. So like the owners,
Totally.
operators, yeah. So that would be really my answer. That's the only unique thing, is the fact that they are just so like unaware that they are the problem, you know?
Thank you
And
for being so blunt about that because that's a harsh truth. You know, when a truth is really a truth is when it hurts your feelings. So that's how
yeah.
I know that is a real harsh truth that probably not a lot of people need to hear. How would somebody assess if they're one of those people?
So I think I spoke on this at our Profit Rocket event this past year, but um, people being in their own way is a massive issue, you know. And I would say the very easiest way to tell whether you are the problem or not is to ask yourself, like, what's going on in my company? And if the immediate answer is I have shitty employees, or you're deflecting blame onto somebody else, then you're the problem. Because you don't have shit employees, you're a shit leader, period. I call it leadership. I should trademark that. But I mean, seriously, like that's the reality. As far as operations and finance, it's the same stuff, different day. I mean, it really is. But what is really just like always gets to me is when people are just like, so I'm like, just listen to them talk, and I'm just like, you really don't get it at all. But for the listeners, I don't know that like my clients would like laugh their butts off when they hear this, but I'm not a sugarcoating coach. Like, I'm just not. And when I interview, and I do say interview clients, because when I first started out, I took everyone. It's like you're trying to make a name for yourself and you're willing to work with anybody.
Right.
Now I interview them. There's a process, right? Because I have to make sure it's a good fit for both sides, right? And I'm not in the business of taking money, I'm in the business of changing lives. So it has to make sense on both sides. But when I interview people, I'm blatantly honest. Like, listen, if you want somebody who's going to sugarcoat things and be sweet, like, go to a donut store. That's not me. Like, and the reason being is that I'm not doing you any justice by lying to you, by sugarcoating it, or by not telling you you are the problem. And
Right.
surprisingly, even though I know it's gut punches sometimes, I try to make them as soft as possible. But I mean, I surprisingly, people are very receptive to it. I think because so many coaches are afraid to actually say that. It's like taboo.
Right. And, you have that care and love behind the accountability, and it is
100%.
accountability. I think that people can really, and this goes back into the subject of women and their place in the trades, is that emotional intelligence and that care behind accountability is one of the most important things because you remove that warmth from that. And
Yes.
then, yeah, I'm just being an asshole for sure.
Mhm.
But it's because you really care and people can
Yes.
feel that and accept it, accept your feedback. So, when it comes to operations and women specifically in operations in the trade, I've definitely seen a trend of that being a really common place where they really thrive. What do you think about, women in operations with your experience?
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. I mean, I love women out in the field. I love women doing sales. I love women in any position, but I think what is really cool about women being in the operations side, no matter at what level. I mean, if it's high level, that's even better. But what I love is that women have, by nature, and I mean, this is like, just a high percentage, I would say. Women by nature tend to be more objective. And so, like, my superpowers are objectivity and intuition. Okay. Like, I can't really, like, I mentor people, but I can't really, like, copy paste. I can't give you that. Like, you either have it or you don't naturally. You can fight to, like, get some type of objectivity, skill sets grown. But, like, for me, it's natural. So when I learned to, like, really channel them and, like, get really, really good at my superpowers, it all just fell into place. So I think a lot of women are capable of being very objective. And when you're objective and you're able to see the business as a chessboard, that's when you win,
Hmm.
because yeah, you got to remove the emotion, take the subjective out, and don't ever manage with emotion. Like you got to look at the big picture, because surprisingly, men are oftentimes a lot more emotional. They just are. And
Yeah.
that's like the contrary belief, I know, but they fly off the handle, they take everything at face value, or they're so busy like pushing forward that they don't see what's right in front of their face.
I
So
love that hot take. That's a hot take. And it's true. There's a lot of research behind what you're saying. It's not really just your opinion. There's a lot of research behind it. And, if any listeners, by the way, are like getting a little defensive right now, to help you out is think about, maybe think about your relationship with your wife,
yes,
and how she, pulls everything back and is like, wait, 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 wait. We got to talk about this and we got to go through these
yes.
things, and think about what role your wife plays in your business or in raising your kids or anything that you do, and then listen to that, right? Because you might have a different perspective. Right away, I can see people like, no, 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 women are more
No.
emotional. And yeah, but if you look at it, if you look at this objectively, if you could just try, then
Yes.
you could see that there is a lot of truth in that. And how do you cultivate a leader like that? How do you cultivate a female? Let's say that a lot of people have um, somebody in the office that has amazing potential to move up into operations and leadership. This is probably a really common thing. So if they wanted to cultivate a leader in a higher position out of that office girl, what do you think are some of the steps that they could take to do that?
Well, I think it's just like, it's not specific even to women. It's you're doing the same thing across the board. I mean, it's about pouring into, these people. The greatest gift I was ever given was leadership training and leadership skill sets. Because truthfully, I mean, and I'm the first one to admit this. So like when you hear me say these things, listeners know I'm not throwing stones from a glass house. I'm not sitting up on an ivory tower. I've made all the mistakes you can possibly imagine. But that's part of my journey to get to where I am today, and having to eat humble pie and fall flat on your face. That's part of the struggles, how you gain growth, right? And so you have to struggle and you have to have a lot of self-awareness. And I think pouring into anyone who you see potential in as a leader and really pushing them outside of the box. So like I've grown leaders, and ever I people try to give me credit for these things, and I'm like, no, no, no. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. But the
Right.
biggest thing I do is I challenge them. So I never ask people direct questions. I ask them thought-provoking questions that are going to get them to realize what I'm trying to get to or allude to before I ever ask it. So that's my
She's a
trick.
salesman.
I know. Well, it's funny because I've never ever considered even almost myself a salesperson, but I think enough Victor Rancor in your life will hammer that home. Next thing you know, I'll be selling school buses to people with no kids. Just kidding.
You could. I'd buy it from you. I'd buy
Thank you,
anything from
Shreya.
you.
I mean, but same with interviewing. Like, people always ask me, what's a trick to like interview and get the best candidates? And I'm like, you don't ask anyone direct questions, because when you ask them direct questions, they're going to give you the answer you want to hear. But when you're able to actually ask people questions that are going to so like dive deeper and get you the answer that you want, that helps you to really understand how they think. Well, the same thing works with leadership development. I mean, going through a program like I'm John Maxwell certified, and that was huge for me. But really it came down to just experience of every day, like dealing with employees, and then learning that to be a leader has nothing to do with management or copy paste. It's just how you can develop these people, into being the best possible employees that or team members or leaders, that you can possibly make. So I think it's all about pouring into them. I think it's about challenging them, pushing them outside of their comfort zone, not giving them the answers to everything. Like I cannot be your crutch. And that's a huge mistake we make as leaders.
Yeah.
How do I handle this, Michelle? How do I handle this, Michelle? What do I do here? How would you handle this? You figure it out.
Mm. Yeah, just like raising a child, I guess, right? You kind of give them a little bit of freedom
Yes.
you put
Yes.
them in this box in a way and you make sure they don't color too far outside the
Yes.
lines, but you let them make their own choices and fall down and learn by themselves in a way. Not helicopter parent them, which is like a lot of
Yes.
managers and owners are helicopter parenting these people, and they're not able to grow into the leaders that they want them to be. This is probably a perfect segue into E3, because I would imagine uh, there's not a lot of specific places for women that are getting into leadership or are in a leadership position and need more specific help, because I think a lot of us agree that we're not trying to say that we are the same, that men and women are the same. We're saying that they could do the same thing in different ways with different talents, which
Yes.
means that I need a community of women to learn from as well, to be close with, because it's sometimes it's a different species. And
Yes. 100%.
yeah, so tell us a little bit more about your journey with creating E3.
I would absolutely love to. So like I said, E3 was dreamt into fruition over honestly something that really frustrated me, politically driven. I won't get into it, but I was really frustrated the night before. And when I woke up in the morning, I said, you know what? Like, I am capable. I have people who look up to me, people who are inspired by me, whether I realize it or not. And I can do more. Right. And I don't have, that doesn't mean playing by someone else's rules. That means, creating my own rules. And what does that look like? And how do I feel that with my skill sets and my circle and the people who, I have as resources, how can we best benefit the trades, right? And I thought back to like 9 years in the trades and how I had never once been invited to any single women's group, and I'm like, there's a need. There's a need. It's not like, no, I'm living under a rock. People know who I am. And so if I haven't even been invited, like there's a lot of women that we can help.
Right.
Um, and then I kind of just from there, it was like, what do I really want to give? And what can I really do? That's different, that's unique. And then that's touching all of the trades and not just a small portion of the trades. So E3 stands for Empower, Equip, Elevate. And our mission is to empower, equip, and elevate women on their journey that leads to courageous life change. And really, that's bringing new women into the trades, no matter what that looks like, giving them industry specific training, and then helping them to find jobs. Those women that are already in the trades, trying to reach more of them and really give them the support that they need. Create a community that's not just, I feel like we fail and we just meet people at events and then we never talk again. And, it's sad. But
Yeah.
we need a community that's ongoing where you have constant support, you have constant, leadership development or job opportunities, training opportunities, just different things that we can do to actually help them to reach their dreams and identify those, and to feel like it's a safe judgment free zone. And that, you know, for me, it takes like and it doesn't have to be male or female, but like you just need that one person that's going to believe in you, that's going to change your life. And a
Right.
lot of people don't know this, even though I openly talked about it on Facebook finally now after all this time. But, Victor was my person that just really like said, hey, this is what you want to do. Like, this is on your vision board. What the hell are you doing? Like chase your dreams. And that's a thing is like, people don't always see because I'm very like, I'm terrible with social media. I will say it. I try, I have the best intentions, and then I fail every time. I just, I hate it. But, people don't always see that, but, to have somebody say like, you know, you can do it. Like you stop being complacent, get rid of your limiting beliefs and push yourself, don't listen to anybody who's telling you you can't do something. And that's really what we're trying to create, is this mentor menteeship programs, job placement, training, having actual education based, but just like the new hip stuff, like evolving with the trades, that's huge for me. And that's huge for Profit Rocket also. We refuse to be like stuck in like old school ways. What got you there won't get you here. Um, and so, or sorry, what got you here won't get you there. So we're just, creating this evolving community for women, and they really feel safe. It's not clicky,
Yeah.
it's not judgmental. It's like, and we just go into different verticals also.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be a part of that and go to the conference next month. What I really love is looking at the speaker list and, everything that's going on there. There's a very diverse skill set
Yeah,
that's something that people don't realize. Like I look at that speaker board and I'm like, you
huge.
pretty much covered every skill set and every department. And, I'm sales, I was in the field in HVAC,
Yes.
right? Amanda's a female owner, a sole owner, right? And then we have, co-owners and wives in that sector. We have CSR, we have marketing,
Yes.
pretty much covering everything. And so let's talk about this event, where it is, when it is, how people can get signed up, and who is this for, this event?
So really, this is, all about women empowerment. So it's safe for anyone, whether they're in the trades or not. If they're looking to elevate their lives, 100%, you're welcome to come. It's not trade specific, and it's definitely not one single trade or two single trade specific. It's really about anyone, who's looking to have that support system and to elevate their lives. And it is February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, in Huntington Beach at Paseo Resort and Spa. It's called Women in Charge. So, like I said, it's not trade specific, although there will be, a lot of people there from the trades. But I love that you noticed the list of speakers, because that's not by accident. I'm very intentional with everything I
I
do.
see that.
So I handpicked, all of these people. But what I am blessed to say is that I have had so many people who have been willing to be a part of this movement. They see my vision, they believe in what I'm trying to accomplish, and they got on board. And I mean, literally day one, I called Amanda and I said, "You're gonna think I'm crazy." And she was like, "What?" And I said, "I really want to start a nonprofit. Like, I want to do this. I want to it's unfortunate if it makes waves, because I want it to just to make a difference. I got to make a big impact with my life. If I were to be gone a year from now, like, I need to do something big." She
Right.
said, "You're not crazy. I got you, girl. I'll be there. Let's do this." So,
Of course.
it's really awesome to have these incredible women, and a lot of them I handpicked that are not in the spotlight every day.
Mhm.
And I did that on purpose, because there are women like if you only look at the people who you see in the spotlight all the time, you think you try to compare yourself to them, and you're like, I'm no, like, that's defeating for a lot of women. Like, I'm not that person, like, I can't do what they're doing. I'm not, so it's like, no, you don't even understand. There's so many people who you have no idea that are doing huge things that you just don't see in your face all the time. You
Right.
can. And
Yeah.
so I really wanted to inspire women. And I thought, if I get an insane caliber of different walks, different stories, different positions in the trades and out of the trades, and I bring all these women together, like, how could you not, like, how could not one, like, not one single speaker touch your heart or inspire you or
Absolutely.
motivate you? So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so excited. And if I was,
I'm
back in the
excited
truck,
you're going to be there. Like, I'm honored. I'm so jacked about it.
of course, me too, because I've never been to a women's trades event, like when I was in the truck, I didn't even have any like single one tradeswoman that one. And later on I learned about coral whale, and that meant a lot to me to learn about
Yes.
coral, another woman in the field grinding it out. And I read her post and followed her, but other than that, it was all men. So,
Oh, no
if
one.
yeah, if I were back in the truck, I would fight tooth and nail. I'd tell my boss, "Hey, listen, you're sending me here. This is where I'll be, or I'll send myself." And I would go and get. I could tell you honestly, I would be there. and I would figure it out when I was in the
Yes.
field. And so, anybody listening, if you have anybody in the office, in leadership, any women in your life in the field that you feel like could benefit from this, which if they're a woman, they can. Pretty
Yes.
much. We're going to link the information below so you could register for that so that they could get connected to us personally, where
Yeah.
we personally will shake their hand, see them at the event, get their cell phone number, and get mentors. A lot of the
Yes.
people walking on the stage, the biggest people in the industry, when I've reached out and said, "Hey, will you be my mentor?" They're like, "Yeah."
Yes.
You just have to ask. You have to be there to ask. That's really the only gap. So this is covering
100%.
the gap to connect everybody through mentorship. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us. And I'm really excited for this event. I'll link everything below. And do you have any closing
Well,
messages that you want to tell
sorry,
people?
I have a surprise guest
Oh,
here.
hey,
So
how did I know that would happen?
he's been creeping in the background for so long. I'm like, just pop over here.
What's going
Don't
on,
worry,
Shreya?
it's
Good
not
seeing you.
stealing your shine at all. He's like a part of the background when you're in the
Yeah,
frame. So
I'm the bad background noise, but no, for anybody that is listening, man, Michelle's put everything she has into this, and from money, time, effort, everything. So she's gonna have an amazing event. And if you guys are thinking about coming out, don't hesitate. It's gonna be worth it. We had the event last year. I mean, all the women left. Some of them were left crying because there's a lot of emotions and a lot of different things they went
Yeah.
through. But obviously this is women for women, but all of them in the industry are here to support you guys too. So, and
Thank
like I
you,
said, Michelle's
Victor.
done a badass job and she's pretty excited. So we're excited to see you guys
Thank
next week.
you. Yes,
thanks,
and I
Victor.
would say like don't be afraid. Like if you need a ticket and you really want to come and that's the only thing holding you back, reach out to me. I will find a way. I will find a sponsor. I will do whatever I can to help you to get to the event. But also remember like I don't Shreya and you haven't experienced it so you don't know, but like I don't do clicky stuff. Where this is like all inclusive. Everyone's going to feel welcome. No one is going to be intimidated. A Lemon Seed Marketing is throwing a really awesome squeeze, like to be creative. I love it that they threw 3 E's in there. But a kickoff party, we're going to have so many fun things going on just to make sure everyone's comfortable before the event even starts. And then we have 2 full days. Like I have some really incredible friends from the trades and everybody is so welcoming. If you're not feeling comfortable for any reason at all, we'll get you hooked up with some girls that, will really make you feel more comfortable. But I encourage everyone to like not hesitate because they think like of a typical women's event or I'm not part of like the cool girls group and so I can't go. Like, no, that's not how I play. So
Yeah,
it will be very inclusive. It's going to be so powerful, so intentional, so impactful. And I'm like literally so excited for all the people who are attending. I've worked my butt off. Really, I have worked very hard for this event.
yeah, and I could say that we appreciate you doing that and,
So
making this convention reality for all of us to
thank you.
experience it. And I'm so excited. Once again, we're going to link that below. So go ahead and click your sponsor. You have, a woman in your life, or you are a woman that would benefit from this. And thank you for all the listener support once again. And
Yeah.
thank you, Michelle, for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, everybody.